What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on my channel. In today's video we are doing a top 10 tips and tricks here in the Hunter Call of the Wild for beginners. Let's start out by killing this roe deer. Alright. So, here's my roe deer. We hit a left lung shot. Also hit a pelvis shot. She paid $549. So, our first tip is going to be to unlock all lookout and outpost, which gives you XP and helps out for traveling. So if you look at your map when you first get the game, it's going to look something like this. Completely dark, nothing's discovered. All you're going to have are these little binoculars. Now these are what you want to go to. You want to just put a waypoint on it. And what's going to happen whenever you explore these is it's going to like brighten up a piece of your map. And I'll show that now. It says survey right here. You're going to want to click E for PC. It's going to do this really nice thing.
Is a favorite region for a lot of hunters. The fallow deer is such a classic animal to hunt, but we also get a lot of history buffs here. To the south lies the Hirschdorf Hügelgrab, a grave mound dating back to the Bronze Age.
So, as you can see, it just brightened up part of my map. And when you explore these lookout points, it'll do that for your entire map, so the entire map will get brightened up. That is the first thing you're going to want to do. You're also going to want to go to the outpost, which are these little houses which will appear on your map whenever you get the lookout points. So whenever you see a house, you're going to want to run down to it. So let's start by getting down there. The words you saw come up after I explored that were from the missions. Missions are really good for earning XP and money. And I'll just show you guys those right here. If you go to the map and then click mission log, this will be what it looks like, and it will say the first steps. And you can just click accept. And this mission is locate a track, shoot an animal, harvest an animal. So, to complete the mission, you're just going to want to shoot an animal, and then you'll get a little bit of XP and money. And I will show you guys that if I can find an animal. Now, the missions are really good as a beginner because not only do they give money and XP, but they also can lead to some pretty sweet trophies like an albino fallow deer and a diamond wild boar. You also see on your way these like question marks or these little eyes. The eye is a point of interest, and you're going to want to claim that if you see it. It'll give that music, this little thing saying the blah 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 poem. It'll say that you entry added to a codex, and that just helps with some mission stuff. Now there is a fox down there. We're gonna shoot that fox to complete the mission. So I shot the fox. It gave me $1,000 for completing the mission. And then the top left it'll say mission complete. And that is what you're gonna want to do. And then the next mission will pop up.
Your bearings. There are lookout points spread out all over the reserve.
This mission's just saying go to a lookout point, which is exactly what we just done. So you can click accept. And then when you visit the lookout point, you will get the mission. And like I said, you're going to want to do the missions. They're really good for money and XP. But here is our house. And this is where you're going to want to get all of your loadout. This is where you can change time and all of that good stuff. So the way that you claim the house is you're going to run up to this pole, and then it'll say claim, and you're going to click that. So my third tip, which is right here, is what weapons you're going to want to start with. So in the beginning, you're going to be given the 243, this pistol, and then the 12 gauge shotgun. You're going to want to start with the 243 and get that pistol out of here, and you can keep the shotgun, that's fine. But then the game is going to give you the 270. It'll be right here. It'll say 270, and you're going to want to take that and drop it onto the right side. Now, another fun thing, which is going to help you out a lot, is in the beginning the 243 ammo is actually free. You see it says free. This is the soft points. Even though it's free, and it is good for whenever you have $0, you're going to want the polymer tips. These are 530 for 10, and if you look, penetration's 30 compared to the penetration's 15 for these. So definitely as soon as possible get the polymer tips. And then also you're going to want to, as soon as possible, get the 270 ammo, which is right here. Also make sure to get the polymer tips, and that's good for classes 4 to 8. Now I'm going to show you how to set up your loadout. So act like you're going to your map, and then you'll click on inventory. And here's like your weapons and your ammo and all that. So you're going to go to weapons. Whatever weapon you want to put in is you're going to click on it, and you're going to drag it over to this wheel and drop it. And then you're going to go to ammo, find the ammo, drag it, and drop it over the weapon. And then the sight, drag, drop. Now, in the beginning, the sight you're going to have is this little sight right here. It's just the beginner sight. It's called the Ascent, and it's not very good. It looks something like this, Ascent. But what you want to, tip number 5 is what equipment and weapons. You're going to want to get a different sight. As soon as possible, I recommend getting the Hyperion. This one right here is 12,000 in-game dollars, and it's so much better. And I'll give you an example of that. So if this is the beginner scope, you know, it doesn't really zoom in that far, and it's got this big rim. Well, if I go to my other sights and I get the Hyperion, we'll just take a look at that. It's got a skinnier rim. You can zoom in a lot farther, and it just works really well. So definitely, as soon as possible, get the Hyperion. A couple of other things that you're going to want to get is the binoculars, which are right down here in the binocular section. You're going to want the Venture 5x30. Nope, not these ones, sorry. The Apex View 7x42 binoculars. These are the best binoculars in the game, and they're what you're going to want. So definitely make sure to get those as soon as possible, and I'll just show you guys the difference between those and the beginner binoculars. So the beginner binoculars just look, you know, they don't have a rangefinder, they don't zoom in very far. But then if you look at our other binoculars, they have a rangefinder, they zoom really far, and they're just a lot better overall for only $24,000. You're really going to want those. Now, tip number 6 is if you're going to buy some DLC, then I do recommend a couple of different ones. And I'll go show you guys those now. Call the Wild, you can just click DLC store, and it'll be all of these different DLCs. And you're probably wondering, wow, this is a lot. I'm not sure what to get. Well, my recommendation is to get the Modern Rifle DLC, and I'll show you guys that. If we scroll down, or we just click hunting equipment, It's this one right here, Modern Rifle Pack. It includes the Zarza 22LR, the Zarza 223, and the Zarza 308. This is a really good one because it comes with a Class 1 rifle, Class 2 to 4, and Class 4 to 8, which is basically all the class in the game. The other weapon pack that I would highly recommend is the High Caliber Weapon Pack, which is this one right here. It is the 300 Mag Tactical, which covers Class 7 to 9, the 4570 Jernberg, the Strandberg 10SA, and the 10 gauge semi-automatic. This is another great one because it covers the higher class, and it includes the 300 mag, which is the best Class 9 rifle. And just those two packs alone will cover the entire classes in the game from 1 to 9, and is perfect for your hunting adventures. Now, if you want a non-DLC loadout and you don't want to buy any DLC early in the game, then the best loadout would be the 7mm, which is right here. It would also be the Ranger 243, which you start out with. It would be the 12 gauge shotgun, which is this one right here. So the best starter loadout without any DLC, if you just want to go non-DLC, would be the 7mm, the 243, and the 12 gauge. And the best DLC loadout, if you plan on buying the DLCs that I recommended, would be the 300 Mag Tactical, the Zarza 308, which is this one right here. It would also be the 243 and the Virant 22. Now the reason I choose the Virant 22 over the Zarza 22 is because the Virant 22 comes with 10 shots compared to the Zarza's 5 shots. So this is what the loadout would look like if you do buy the DLCs. Now, we are on tip number 9. This one is that you can hunt any DLC map for free in multiplayer. So, if you go to multiplayer and then go to reserve, you can file through Hirschfelden, Layton, Medved, all these different things. And you probably don't know what a lot of them are, and that's okay. But you can hunt any of them for free without even owning them. So say that I want to hunt Sunder Batan, but I don't have that DLC. I can just come to multiplayer, find any of these servers that I would like to join. We'll just use this one for example. Click on it. It'll load me in. Just give it a minute. And you'll be in the game playing for free. You can taxidermize the animals. You can hunt anything you would like without even owning the DLC. And it's a great way to get some trophies, to hunt some animals that you don't usually get to hunt. And it's a really good way to earn money because some animals pay better than others. So multiplayer, which here we go. See, you can get in the game for completely free, even if you don't own the map. You're just in multiplayer and there's other people. So it's really great. And I would definitely recommend doing some multiplayer hunting because, like I just said, it's completely free, even if you don't own the map. My next tip is going to be to unlock the best skills and perks. So you're probably wondering what that is. Well, every time you level up, you will get a skill, and then a perk, and then a skill, and then a perk. And if you go in here to where your map is, and then you go to skills, here's the different skills. There's the stalker skills, and then there's the ambusher skills. And if you're probably confused on what you should be buying, you can directly copy all the ones that I have. I have 3 points in locate tracks. I have 3 points in track knowledge. I have 1 point in connect the dots. And I have 2 points in soft feet. And then I go to ambusher. I have 2 in scent tinkerer. I have 3 in spotting knowledge. I have 1 in the more the merrier. This one increases the monetary reward gained from completing missions. So whenever you complete any missions, you get 5% more money. I have the feather falling, which you don't take as much damage from falling. I have the sight spotting, which unlocks the ability to spot animals while in aim mode. You're going to want this as soon as possible. So instead of having to pull out your binoculars, you can actually spot the animals with your scope. I have 2 in tag, which unlocks the ability to spot multiple animals simultaneously. And then I have 1 in pack mule, which increases the base carry capacity by 15%, which means you can carry 3 pounds more gear than everybody else can. So those are the best skills and perks for my personal opinion. Okay, so my next tip is to hunt around water. So here on your map, sorry about that, hold on. If you look at your map, there will be the blue, which is water. And you're going to want to hunt around water, and the reason that I recommend hunting the water instead of just running around is because you're going to find a lot more animals. So as you can see, I have 2 male white-tailed deer here, along with some females out on the other side of the lake. And already these are 4 deer that you can shoot, and all you had to do was run to the water instead of taking hours running through all these forests and just without trying to spook them. It's really difficult. So hunt around water. Now, I'm sure you're wondering well, how do I find these zones? So this right here is a drink zone. As you can see in the bottom right, it says need zone. It says whitetail deer 8 to 12. So that means that these whitetail are going to be here from 8 to 12 o'clock. So all you have to do is go to your outpost, go into the bed, and reset time. Here, I'll show you guys, because it's probably better if I just show y'all instead of telling you, because some people are visual learners. So you'll see this bed icon. You're going to want to run in here, whatever time it says to set it to. You're going to set it to that time. So it was from 8 to 12, so I'll set it to 10 o'clock. I'll click rest. We'll run out onto the water, start spotting around, and there should be deer. Now if there's not deer, then you can go to a different spot or a different lake, because there should be deer at just about every lake. As you can see, here's mine. They're kind of up in the woods a little bit, but that's okay. Now I'm going to show you guys where to aim and how to shoot. So here's a nice level 2, and I'm going to use my 270. Now, when you're aiming at a deer, you're going to want, obviously you're going to have this bad scope, but if you look at the shoulder, you're going to want to aim right behind it, so like right there. And to shoot on PC, it's the left mouse button, and on controller it's right trigger. So you're going to want to shoot right behind that shoulder, like I said, and to hold your breath, instead of being all wobbly, you see how it's moving a lot? To hold your breath on PC, it's shift, you see, like this, and you aren't as wobbly. And on controller, it is left, shoot, what's it called? Like left, not the trigger, but basically like the movement thing. You want to hold that down, the left one. And you're like this, and you're going to want to aim right behind that shoulder. And I went ahead and shot 2 of them. So there you go, and they both died. So that's exactly where you're going to want to aim, is right behind that shoulder. And then, like I said, shoot with the left mouse button, and you're going to aim with holding down the right mouse button. Now I want to talk a little bit about this pink stuff. So all this pink stuff around this lake is hunting pressure. Now with hunting pressure, there will be low pressure, as you can see in the kind of middle to the right. There can be high pressure, mid pressure, and then dead zone pressure. So dead zone pressure is whenever you shoot 4 animals in one spot without a tripod. So if you just shoot 4 animals there, then that'll kill the zone. And earlier there was one of these here, and now there's not, because I shot 4. But if you only shoot 3, then you'll keep your zone. So if you limit to shooting 3 per zone, then your zone won't blow out unless they overlap. So to keep your zones, you're going to want to make sure that you're not shooting any more than 3 deer per zone. But as you can see, we got vitals. We're going to pick our deer up. And right here, if we look at this, we hit right lung, left lung, liver, all that good stuff. And if we kind of just look at this anatomy, right here's the lungs, which is what you're going to want to hit. Like I said, there's the shoulder, and then here's the lungs. You can also hit liver, which I don't recommend, and stomach. Now, stomach is not a vital, but liver and lungs are. So make sure you just aim. If you aim right there where my mouse is, you'll get a perfect shot every time. And then our other one, we also got a good shot on. We'll pick him up. You see? Double lung, stomach, but we got both the lungs, and that's all that matters. So, my next tip is practicing shooting at a firing range. So, if you just bought the game, the only reserves you have are Hirschfelden and Leighton Lakes. So if you go to Hirschfelden, and then you go to the map and you see this right over here, this is the shooting range. If you run over there, it'll be green to begin with. You run over there and you claim it, then you can fast travel to it. So we're going to fast travel over there, and I'm going to show you guys how that works. Now this is a place where you can practice your shooting and really get it to where you won't miss shots. Now obviously you'll miss sometimes, but it doesn't happen that often. So if we go in here over to this right side, and you see all these things, and you're probably wondering, what does this mean? Well, this is the different, like if I click toggle, it'll be 200 or 400, and this is just the different zeroings. So say I just want to practice on 100 meters, which is probably what you're going to want to do. Then you're going to get your weapon out. When you're in the firing range, you have infinite ammo, as you can see in the bottom right. It's infinite. And you can just zoom in. You're 100 yards out, so you can just aim at the red and see what that's like. You see, it's pretty perfect. I'm basically hitting the red. And just kind of just play around with that at the different yardage and it should help with your shooting. It's like if the thing's 300 yards out, that's pretty far, so I'm gonna aim kind of high. You see, that's pretty good. That was perfect. So we're gonna aim like the very top of the black, and it's kind of perfect from 300 because of something called zeroing. So zeroing is a perk in rifles right here, zeroing. So zeroing unlocks the ability to switch between different distances in addition to the default medium range zero on any weapon that supports it. So there is a short range and a long range. You are going to want zeroing as soon as you start the game. So as soon as possible with these perk points. I didn't go over them, but there's rifles. You're going to want to get 2 in this, and then 2 in this, and 3 and 2. But make sure to go for zeroing first. There's also like some handgun. I got this one. You can kind of just pause the video and take a look at all the ones that I have. But zeroing, basically the way it works is if you look in the bottom right corner, and it says F, because that's how it works in PC. If you click F, it'll 0 to 82 yards, 164, and then 328 is the max. So
I saw some tracks in that area earlier this morning. Hold on, I'll send the coordinates.
Just interrupted us. So before you have zeroing, it automatically zeroes to 164 yards. So without zeroing, you're gonna be shooting at a dead range of 164, which is why it's so perfect whenever we're shooting the 100-yard target, is that it's just really good. But then say I turn my zeroing off, so it's just kind of like natural. If I can, I'm not sure if I can turn it off. But say I like set it to like 300, and I'm at the default zeroing of 164, and I aim exactly where I want it to hit. Well, I'm going to be really low because I'm not 0 to 300. So whenever you start out and you don't have zeroing, make sure that if you're shooting at long distances, you aim up above the animal, kind of like more at the spine, so get good shots. But definitely make sure to get the zeroing. So if you're close range, 0 to 82, and we'll make it 50 yards. So if you're close, 82, and you can just fire away. It's perfect. And then you 0 to 164. If you're like 200 yards, if the animal's 200 yards away, you'll 0 to 164. And that's really good. And then say the animal's like, 350 meters away, then you'll 0 to 328, and you'll just lay rounds exactly where you want them to hit. But that's with zeroing. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, the final thing I'm going to talk about is to understand how need zones work. So need zones in this game, like I showed you over with the drink zones, are basically the animals kind of cycle throughout the day. So they have a drink zone, a rest zone, and a feed zone. So like this drink zone has black bear, whitetail, moose, and they all drink at different times. The whitetail are 8 to 12, the black bear are 4 to 8, and the moose are 12 to 16. So if you want to hunt moose and you have one of these need zones, then set time between 12 and 16, preferably like 13, because they won't be there at 12 and they won't be there at 16. So set it to like the middle of their drink time, and they'll be in their zone. Same with if there was a rest zone like this. There's a 8 to 12 rest zone for moose. Set it to 10 o'clock. The moose will be right here. Just like whitetail will be here and here. So if you understand that, oh, it's 8 to 11 for Merriam turkey, and I want to hunt turkey. Set the time to 10 o'clock. Go to this zone, and there will be turkey. And this is really the way that you should be hunting in the game, is using need zones, because just running around, you won't be finding stuff. Now, if to find the need zones, you're going to want to run around water, and then obviously these rest zones will be just out and about. So once you find those, then you can constantly keep coming back to them, and there should always be animals there unless you blow it out. But that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching.